Michael, do you consider this program a smart show? I know we like to think of ourselves as a smart show. We aspire to be a smart show, but as talking head,
very much so.
Okay, well, I mean, if nothing else, you're a smart guy. I have my moments, as they say, a broken clock is right twice a day.
No, you're a pretty smart guy yourself. Smarter, as a matter of fact. I'd even say smarter.
Oh, well, thank you. Like elevated, right? Like mature, like we grown ups.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
yeah, like more of an elevated conversation.
I'm not going mature.
Okay, that's true. That's true. We could be as immature as anybody, but at least seasoned. We're two seasoned storytellers. But every now and then, there's some ignorance and some foolishness that does require our attention. For example, the latest Cam Newton camp adventure. I don't know what it is about training camps and not training camps, 7-on-7 camps, football camps, and Cam Newton that seems to inspire foolishness. It feels like just yesterday that we were talking about some kid talking trash to Cam Newton, talking about where are his parents. Now we have adults apparently fighting with Cam Newton at a 7-on-7 camp. I just think that Cam Newton should retire from football camps altogether. Like, do not grace these football camps with your presence anymore. And speaking of like growing up and whatnot, like, when I was growing up in New Orleans, my high school, college days, there were certain spots, clubs. I think, I don't want to get this wrong, I think it was Club Whispers, which sounds like a place where shit goes down in the parking lot. When I say Club Whispers, doesn't it sound like a place where like they're gonna be fighting or worse in the parking lot at Club Whispers? Like that was the type of place that inspired the phrase.
Like I'm whispering to you?
Yeah, Whispers, yeah.
No, that doesn't sound like, I'd be deceived by that name. No, that sounds like I can go in there and listen to some Freddie Jackson and some Alexander O'Neal and Luther Vandross.
That's true. But it's like, okay. But anyway, it's like, hey, nothing good happens after midnight. Nothing good happens when Cam Newton is at a football camp, or so it seems. It just seems like somebody gonna get out of pocket with Cam, and I can't figure out why.
Hey, first of all, remember what Sid was talking about when people, you don't even know why people running. It's like, oh, wait a minute, something going on,
right.
and they just start taking off.
Right.
Now, when there's a fight, this is where you know you in the wrong company. You see those people running to the fight. In that video, what you doing? You're running to the fight. What you gonna do? You go instigate, you go jump in, you go jump on the pile, whatever it is.
Well, I have much respect. Before you go on, if I may, sorry, real quick.
Go ahead.
The idea of jumping people, that's the most punk ass shit. Like, I have always had a problem with the concept of jumping somebody. In the immortal words of Martin Lawrence, you so big, bad, and bold, like fight Cam Newton, 6'5", 260-pound Cam Newton one-on-one.
At least.
Every time I see somebody jumping, ganging up or jumping somebody, you know whose voice I hear in my head? You know whose voice I hear in my head? I hear Richie from The Last Dragon. Coward. Like, why are we jumping people? Like, just like if you want to fight him and see how that goes for you, which is a separate conversation, which I'm sure we'll get into. But continue with your point. I apologize.
But I was going to say,
people
look,
turns me off. It's like it's the least big, bad, bold, masculine thing you can do is jump somebody. Anyway, go ahead.
It's whack. Let me tell you something, man. I got a lot of respect for Cam Newton. You say, and I know perhaps it's tongue in cheek. Hey, well, Cam, why do you keep coming to these football camps?
No, it's definitely tongue in cheek.
Yeah, but see, like Cam Newton is always, when he is dealing with the public, when he is dealing with kids, he always takes the higher ground. He always takes the high road, and maybe always is too extreme, but in the cases that you referred to, like the kid was trolling him. There was a kid saying, "You're a free agent. You're a free agent." And Cam was like, "Hey man, Cam was like, I'm good. I'm not, I've made millions of dollars. I'm rich. I'm fine, son. Like where's your daddy? Where are your parents? Like what's going on with you?" He really could have. He said, "Where's Pappy?" I remember him saying that. "Where's Pappy?" But then yesterday, he's at a football camp and people jump on him, and you notice You said he's 6'5", 250. I'm gonna go 6'6". I'm going 265. We saw him in Vegas, and what a specimen!
Cam built
what
in
a
a
specimen
lab.
he is.
Right.
Let
And
me
he's
tell
never
you,
shied
I
away
wouldn't
from
mess with him.
contact either.
I
He's
wouldn't-
never
I
shied
wouldn't
away from
recommend-
contact.
I wouldn't, clearly, nor would I recommend anybody who is of that size to check for him. Just don't do it.
Is it the
But
hat?
you notice he didn't.
Is it
Yeah.
the hat? Is it the fashion? Is it the ascots? Is it the fashion choices? What is it about
the
Cam
confidence.
Newton that
I love
says,
that.
try me?
Oh, I love
What
that.
is it about Cam Newton that says, come
Look at
at me, test me? Like, is he inviting people to pull his card?
now.
Like, but now,
on.
having said all that though, I don't want to speak out of turn. Because like that just seems like, it seems like there's more to this story. Not that there's any justification or rationalization for this. No. But I'm saying like these weren't. I don't think these were strangers. I don't think these were. And I'm certainly not, trivializing or minimizing this because it was tragic, obviously. But I don't think this was as ignorant as, oh, they looked at me wrong, and we started shooting at a Chiefs championship parade. I don't think that's what this was. This seems to be people that knew each other or were involved or at least competed against each other the previous day. So I'm reading from The Athletic. This was obviously a 7-on-7 game in Atlanta. It was organized by We Ball Sports. That's an apparel and sports media company. Youth under 15 and under 18 teams in Georgia and Alabama for a competitive tournament. Now Newton, his program is C1N. These people that he was involved with was Top Shelf Performance. Never heard of them. It's a wide receiver training facility in Atlanta. That's who apparently got in a fight with him. They were both coaches for Top Shelf Performance, the people who were fighting with him, two of them. And they formerly coached with Newton. This is according to a source with knowledge of elite 7-on-7 football, which is just, elite 7-on-7 football. Just this is where we are. So yeah, apparently these weren't exactly strangers. So all I'm saying is perhaps there was something that led up to this that we're not privy to. Not that it should ever
But he didn't
have,
throw a punch. But I'm
gone there.
You're right.
But it just, there's something else to this story that we don't know. I'm sure Cam will address it in full on this podcast, or podcasts, plural.
And I look forward to it. I hope Cecil's a part of it too, because Cecil and Cam, that's some good content right there. But I was just pointing out, I'm sure there's a lot more to it, but I noticed that he didn't throw a punch. He didn't throw a punch. And you're being attacked. Looked like, how it started, I don't know. I do know there was a bunch of people on him, and he didn't punch anybody. I saw a punch thrown in his direction, but he didn't return it. So, sometimes I guess the lesson is, lesson number one, even if you consider yourself a man of the people, you have been a man of the people, there's certain people you don't need to be around.
Stay out the club is what I was getting at. That's why I invoke Club Whispers. Stay out the club.
Don't go to Club Whispers. Hey, where's that place? Hey, now I'm feeling a little frisky today. So what's the place we went to in New Orleans? We went for your bachelor party.
Bachelor party? I don't know. Did we go?
Where was that place?
Did we go to Shishi's? Did we go to the Roxbury? Was it in the East? I don't know. Was it in the East? I don't remember. That was so long ago. It's all such a blur.
I know it was a long time ago. Long time ago.
Yeah.
But I did tell my wife the story of going to a certain kind of club. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Going to a certain
kind of club. About the stripper in the basement? Oh, about the stripper in the basement?
No, not that one.
Oh, okay.
Not that one.
Oh, okay.
Going to a club, and look, I'm a rookie at these things. I just don't have a lot of experience. So I saw people going up. They had their money, and they just do it so seamlessly, and I fumbled. I just fumbled.
Oh, okay. Oh, you didn't know how to make it rain exactly. Gotcha. Yeah, it's a skill.
I just couldn't.
It takes practice.
I just couldn't.
It takes practice. No, but bottom line is, I wish.
It's not my ministry.
Circumstances.
How about that? It's not my ministry.
So circumstances around this altercation notwithstanding, it was generally unfortunate. It was silly. It was unnecessary. I just wish, though, Cam would not be I don't know what it is, but why does trouble or drama seem to follow Cam at camps or viral videos at minimum, follow Cam at camps. And I just wish the people at these camps would appreciate his presence more than they clearly do. Again, that's not my business. My name's Paul. That's between y'all. I'm walking away from that. Moving on to other craziness. Somebody else who's out of the NFL temporarily, if not indefinitely and forevermore, is our guy Eric Bieniemy. He is going to be the assistant head coach and offensive coordinator at UCLA. Something of a homecoming for him. Worked there, spent a lot of time in his life in Los Angeles, and I know I speak for you when we're just disappointed, frustrated, exasperated, whatever you want to call it, when a guy who not that long ago was an integral part of the reigning dynasty in the NFL in Kansas City, who Patrick Mahomes has spoken highly of, who everybody in the Chiefs organization credits with helping to establish the culture in Kansas City. When that guy we've gone from hey, he's not a head coach in the NFL to he's not a head coach in college. He's an offensive coordinator and assistant head coach in college. So I wish him the best. We've talked ad nauseum about how unfair this is, how Eric Bieniemy has become the face of this issue in the NFL when it comes to black coaches. It feels like his ship may have sailed, but what I love about this, and here's all I got to say about it today, because I can't say anything different than I've already said over the last 20 years when it comes to this issue, or the last several years specifically when it comes to Eric Bieniemy. Even though it feels like his ship has sailed when it comes to being a head coach in the NFL, I love the way he is still the captain of his soul. I love what he had to say about it, and he is not looking at this as some indictment or some shortcoming of him and something that he's not bringing to the table. He is clearly at peace with this move, and he is more concerned about molding men than what his reputation, or molding younger men in this case, than what his reputation may or may not be in NFL circles as it relates to a head coaching job. I'm happy for him because he's happy. He knows that he is right where he's supposed to be, that what's for him is for him, and that he has an opportunity that he's going to seize because it's where he wants to be, as opposed to, well, I got to settle for going back to college because the NFL thinks I'm not good enough. He seems unbroken and unbowed by this, what we would perceive on the outside as a step backward. He doesn't seem to take it that way, and I appreciate that, respect that, and I'm inspired by that.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. Yes. You think about Eric Bieniemy and his story in the NFL. It's wild to me that Bieniemy, and it's not just him either. I'm going to talk about him specifically in a second, but I remember, talking to some people in Boston when the Patriots were looking for an offensive coordinator. They eventually, found one in Alex Van Pelt, so good for them. Gerard Mayo is happy with that. But as they were looking for an offensive coordinator, I said, there are offensive coordinators out there who have won Super Bowls in this century, in the last 10 years, that nobody's talking about. So Eric Bieniemy has been an offensive coordinator for a Super Bowl winning team. Byron Leftwich has been an offensive coordinator for a Super Bowl winning team. They're not all black either, by the way, but these are two of them. Jim Caldwell, another black man, offensive coordinator for a Super Bowl winning team in 2012. And then you add in Frank Reich, Darrell Bevell. I know, okay, maybe you're not excited about Darrell Bevell for calling the pass when he could have just called a run for Marshawn Lynch. But there are some guys out there who deserve opportunities, and the NFL has just looked like they're looking for their car. Oh, I see you right there. No. I'm looking for somebody else. I'm right here, and you're looking through me. You're looking over me. You're underestimating me. So that's the story for a lot of people. But for Eric Bieniemy, clearly, when you are with the franchise of right now, the Kansas City Chiefs, and you have to leave for a better opportunity, you go to Washington for a year, and then that doesn't work out, and you wind up in college. That's not a great look. But for this guy,
can you think of a precedent?
It is. Is there a precedent for that?
Well, I'm saying so with the Patriots dynasty, their predecessor, like with the Patriots dynasty, or before that, the 49ers dynasty or the Cowboys dynasty, or even though they weren't a dynasty, I think of Mike Holmgren's Green Bay Packers staff. It's like anybody who touches the hem of a goat's garment.
They're not going down. All of them. Okay, you mentioned, Butch Davis was there with Jimmy. Butch Davis became a head coach in college, became a head coach in the pros. Norv Turner became a head coach in the pros after being with Jimmy Johnson. Charlie Weiss, head coach in college several times, got back to the pros as a coordinator. So you know what? Josh McDaniels, head coach a couple of times.
People fall over themselves just to get a piece of this, you know?
Yeah, but usually it goes the other way. But I'll say this for UCLA. I'm happy that he is there. Happy for Bieniemy, because that's a historic place. The UCLA of Jackie Robinson, the UCLA of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or Lou Alcindor at that point. And now the UCLA of Martin Germain. I talked to you about Martin a couple of weeks ago. We were having a conversation.
Yeah.
Martin was Germain, the athletic director, was here in Boston at Boston College, and then became the first black athletic director at UCLA in their history. So he's there, and he brought in Deshaun Foster as their head coach. And you see Foster's press conference when he was just being introduced, and he was talking about what this opportunity means to him and just being a part of the UCLA tradition. He was very emotional about it. And Germain had a great comment, and I don't think he minds me sharing this part, because I said I was happy for you. Look what you're doing at UCLA. He said, we all deserve an opportunity. Talking about Foster. So he's got the opportunity. And what an opportunity, as you said, for those young men to have Eric Bieniemy coach them, teach them, mentor them, challenge them, because he's not an easy coach to play for, but he makes you better. So I know the NFL missed out, but UCLA is getting something special. I think something special is going to happen at UCLA.
Amen. Sounds like, let's stay with college football. Sounds like, and this is some childish foolishness a childish thing that you and I have struggled to put away in our old age. We're better at it now because our kids are keeping us busy. Jobs keep us busy, but for a while there, before we were, it wasn't before, we would alternate between these Madden marathons and NCAA football, which has not been produced since 2014, I believe, was the last time we saw NCAA football. Those were the days. Before we talk about the current situation when it comes to name, image, and likeness, let's take a walk down memory lane. See, what these young folks nowadays don't understand, because everything is handed to them now, you don't understand the days of having to create players. You don't understand the days of having
research.
You're talking to somebody
manual input.
Well, but I told y'all before. Circa 1990, 1991, I was handwriting my own stats in Tecmo. Okay, like this is before computers and the internet and people and memory cards and clouds and all this kind of stuff. Some of us had the 9-yard gain, 19-yard gain. Like I know what I was doing in Tecmo. So fast forward to me and Michael's young adult lives, which were obviously not spent in the club. That's why we weren't in the club, because we were in the house franchising or trying to build a dynasty in NCAA football. We had to create players because of course there was no name, image, and likeness, no real players being used back then. And then remember when you had a dynasty in college football, and then you could upload those players to Madden. Remember that? And then you could draft those players in Madden that you had in NCAA.
You developed these guys.
Those were the days.
I want to see them in the pros.
Shout out. God, I told you, they got people out here doing God's work creating draft classes for Madden modern day. But no, NCAA football was just special. Like I remember I used to take UCF. I used to take UCF because I always wanted to go to a talent-rich state like Florida or Texas and try to take down one of the powerhouses. And man, I definitely remember those recruiting battles with Florida State and Florida and Miami. In some respects, Michael, I did enjoy NCAA football more than Madden. In some respects.
Oh,
but
yeah.
We had a time, did we not? We had a time, did we not?
Hey, I think I may have even worked with Army. I think I made Army.
That sounds familiar.
Old school.
That sounds familiar.
I'm gonna make Army a power, national power again. And so, hey, you got New York. So okay, we're gonna start off small. We just a little school in West Point. We just a little school up in the mountains. But then get some wins, get about 5 or 6, we become bowl eligible. Then our status goes up. Now we're able to recruit nationally. Man, it was so much fun. It was so much fun. Army in the Rose Bowl. Army in the Sugar Bowl playing for the national championship.
And the modern day college football landscape is just ripe for like opportunities and storylines when it comes to recruiting and the transfer portal.
It's harder now.
The ever expanding college football playoff. I don't know.
How do you account for that? That game, you can't build a power. This is like real thing. Like you had Nick Saban stepping aside. He like, hey, I can't do it. I can't deal. How do you deal with? Okay, you got a kid. They got to factor that in. Oh God, this guy's going to sign with you. Whoop! Here comes UCF. They offered him $4 million.
Mike,
to come on.
It's been
a package deal.
Right? It's been a year or two since I've been in franchise mode in Madden. I don't think I'm gonna be able to resist playing NCAA 25. Like it's like that synthetic cocaine that David Jayson was trying to peddle in deep cover. Like this is some next level shit that we might. I don't think I'm gonna be able to not play this. Like it's just so much going on. Every day college football just gets crazier and crazier when it comes to the business of college football. So what's crazy about this game, I'm sure you've seen it, is that in exchange for players' name, image, and likeness, they're hooking them up with a whole $600 and a copy of the game.
That's it.
And they got players lining up to do it because they want to be in the game. EA Sports. They want to be in the game. I know.
That's
it feels criminal. It feels even more exploitive. Okay, it feels even more exploitive from a contemporary standpoint. When you think about, for the longest time, players got nothing other than room, board, tuition, and snacks, and got punished for getting anything beyond that. Now we're in the era, in the day and age of name, image, and likeness, giving them something more than the nothing, above the nothing, giving them $600 feels even more insulting, given how we're supposed to be evolved as a society when it comes to the exploitation of so-called student athletes, right?
600. Why 600? Why $600?
I don't know. Who came up with that number?
Is that the limit?
Why not 5?
You can't.
Why not 5?
I mean,
why not 750?
No,
why not 1,000? Why not round it up?
Yeah,
you know?
right. Yeah, it's just weird. It's weird.
And I think it's a one-time payment, right? So can I play it?
No, it's not. No,
it's not a one-time?
No, it's not a one-time because I think they will be.
Okay.
They will continue unless I read a false report or whatever. They'll get the money, and then they'll continue to be paid as long as they're in the game. I think there's some, but is it 600? Is it a rolling $600? I don't know. It's just not enough money. I know that it's not enough money. So
and then there's supposedly a mechanism.
We need the people at the top of the chain to be like, no.
But the players who decide not to give their name, image, and likeness, apparently there's some kind of mechanism to protect degenerates like me and you from actually creating those players. See, but I feel like I'm part of the problem. Like I'm not the biggest college football guy. We've talked about this. I like college football from a spectacle standpoint. I've never liked the system of college football. One of my first term papers in high school was paying collegiate athletes. I mean, it's been an ongoing conversation for both our lifetimes. I've never liked the systems of college football, but I have enjoyed the product, and I feel like by patronizing college football, or specifically NCAA college football 25, am I part of the problem? Am I contributing to the continued exploitation of these players by partaking in this extremely addictive video game that they're not being paid their worth for. Like, should I boycott this game? I'm already feeling guilty and dirty before I've even stepped into the recruiting wars. I'm already feeling dirty about my excitement for playing this game.
Should you boycott the game, or should those who are being paid $600 push a little bit more? I forget about boycott. Just push more. Like, look, 600 is not enough. You want us in there, like the top 20 players in college football. Say, why? Who negotiated this? That's what I want to know. Like, it's like taking the first offer.
Well, they don't have a union.
Yeah, I know, but okay, I know. I appreciate that you said 600. That's your first offer. Here's my counter offer. 1,500 or 2,000 or whatever it is. I mean, I'm not asking for a piece of the game, but if you're going to use my name in it, I mean, that seems low. Anything in the hundreds seems low.
I don't think this is what Ed O'Bannon had in mind. I don't think this is what Ed O'Bannon he was looking for. I don't think this is what he was fighting for. No, because if that's the case, and now I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth. It's like, why stop there? It's like, okay, here comes the 12 and soon to be 14 or 16 team college football playoff. It's like there's just more and more money that these institutions and that these suits are making, and none of it ever trickles down to the employees, as we all know. They want us to be happy with their version of 40 acres and a mule is name, image, and likeness. And it's just, I really want to enjoy this game. I want to enjoy it with you. But as I'm playing, I'm going to be like, man, I feel like I'm part of the problem. Because this is what they're counting on. These institutions are counting on the fact that we're gonna pay to play or pay to watch, regardless of what the employees aren't getting paid.
All right, so here we go. I want to know what in a copy of the game. Duh, of course, copy of the game. That's payment. You'll give me a copy of the game.
Thanks.
You give anybody a copy of the game. You probably got some extras. You just throw it around. You throw around copies of the game. That's not a problem. What I want to know is, what do they pay? And I honestly don't know this.
The schools?
What do they pay?
The schools?
The announcer. Like, so if you're in the game, you're the announcer.
Yeah.
How much are you paid when you are, they have,
like,
hey, I'm here with so-and-so.
You're Kirk Herbstreit. How much are they making?
Yeah, studio show. I want to know that to figure out what's fair. Yeah. So give me that information, and then we can go from there. Should you be paid more than that? Should you pay equal to that? A little bit less?
Yeah.
I feel like, okay, if I find out that Kirk Herbstreit is getting, I don't think he's doing it for free.
No.
If he gets does he get 30 grand? I have no idea. But I need to know that if I'm a college football player, before I decide to make my next move.
You playing it? Are you in the game? OH.
Damn.
Bro, I know. Just when we think we out, they pulling us back in. God, we're so childish. We are not mature.
I know.
Something else I've been on for a long time, staying in college sports, switching to college basketball. I don't even know why this is still a conversation. Like, I have long thought that it was time to rethink court storming. Not just court storming, field storming. Storms of any kind. Like, we are always, whether it's Caitlin Clark or Kyle Filipowski, we are all asking for trouble when we allow unruly college students to storm a court in celebration of, in this case, most recently, a Wake Forest upset of Duke, which I believe they were favorites anyway. But okay, when you beat Duke, I guess you got to storm the court. What's it going to take? Does somebody have to be, because he was seriously injured, does somebody have to be even more seriously injured? Does a player have to assault a fan in retaliation? Like, what? Why is this still a thing? And I thought there had been conversations or deterrents put in place by these universities or measures put in place to avoid this. Like, we've been talking about this as long as I can remember. And every so often there's an incident like this where it's like, oh, we got to rethink court storming. Like, duh. This should not happen.
All right, so if you want to do it, okay, I'm just trying to think of, all right, the beauty of it, the beauty of storming the court or the field.
You can't wait. You can't wait till the players clear the court. You can't. Here's why.
I was going to say,
that's
the only way to do it.
Because but it defeats the purpose, which to me, stay your ass in the stands. You don't belong in the court. Go home and party. Flood the streets. Whatever you want to do.
They don't want to go home.
Right.
This is the club.
You can
only club.
You can only club whispers, except they ain't whispering. You can only storm the court as the clock is running down. Like that's the purpose of storming the court. That's the pageantry. That's the pomp and circumstance or whatever of storming the court is 3, 2, 1. You know, and some of the most iconic images in the history of college sports have been, you know, bedlam and pandemonium with college students jumping for joy. And maybe it's because I went to, you know, Loyola New Orleans and we never had reason to storm the court. I didn't go to a big university that played big time college basketball or football where we, you know, were part of, you know, traditional rivalries like this. So yes, I don't understand. I don't understand what it's like to be a college student, but I would venture to say most of these students don't take it that seriously. A lot of times they just storm in the court because that's what they see on TV, because it looks cool, because their friends are doing it. Everybody else
they're following people.
And they're following.
Yep.
And they're following. And in this instance, you can't at least have the decency to avoid the opposing player. It's like, I don't even understand why it's still a conversation, but I just had to get it off my chest.
How do you stop it, though? How do you stop it? How do you stop a crowd of
How do you arrest everybody? How do you stop a mob? How do you stop a mob?
8,000, right. 8,000 to 17,000 people. I would say this. Okay, in some situations, it is. Now, this is not fun, but it's safe. All right, if you're storming the court. So the other day, who was it? UConn. UConn lost to Creighton, right? It was not a close game. So Creighton beat UConn by 15 points, something like that. I mean, so if you wanted to storm the court, and it's 30 seconds left in that game, I think you need to have an official's timeout. We know what's going down here. The number one team, 14-game winning streak, all that stuff. UConn's about to lose to Creighton. 30 seconds left. Hey, you know what? Have them line up by the tunnel. And so when we get the countdown, those guys are out of there. They don't have to find their way through the court. If it's close, but sometimes it's not that convenient.
And not the Avengers. Like, take preemptive.
Yeah, no, Avengers. Avengers.
It's like let's be proactive here. Let's take some
what's
measures.
going to happen. Now, if it's a last-second shot, you can't do anything about it. But in some of these cases, you really can. I feel terrible.
More security. They had security. Give more security. Like at a concert.
That was scary. That was crazy.
Right?
I mean, she was knocked out on the court. And then this game, this Duke Wake Forest game. Now, Filipowski says it's intentional. No doubt in his mind it's intentional. I couldn't see the video. I looked at the video like 20 times to see if I could, give me a spot shadow. I really couldn't tell from that, but
right. Who's to
I'm
say
sure
it wasn't?
there was dialogue.
Who's to say it? But who's to say it won't be? I mean, we've heard of this before. Like right. It won't be next time. Like somebody could just decide I'm gonna just take out their guy, or worse. I just any kind of fan athlete interaction.
It's just
prohibited.
It's stupid at this point. It was quaint.
You know what they need?
It's from a different era.
They need armor bearers. They need armor bearers.
They need what?
We talked about that. Armor bearers. We talked about that. They need armor bearers. That's what they need. Okay? Lined up. They need the fruit of Islam. They need them people lined up knowing good and well that they need to do not cross this line. Do not cross this line.
The FOI standing with the hats and everything. The FOI, okay. You better think twice about coming up. It's from a different era, though. Storming the court is not of 2024. We got to move on.
Yeah. Speaking of moving on, all right. Let's talk about some craziness in the NBA, some insanity in the NBA. Okay. These stats, and I want to go back to. I want to do it through this prism. Last time we talked on Wednesday, we had Vincent Goodwill on, and we talked about faces of the NBA. We had the face of the NBA conversation, right? We talked about what constitutes a face of the NBA. What does somebody have to do to be a face of the NBA? And I maintain that Nikola Jokic is a face of the NBA, albeit reluctantly, even if he doesn't want to be a face of the NBA, because when you're the best player in the NBA, we're constantly talking about you. To me, that makes you a face of the NBA. Even if it's just your face, even if you ain't opening your mouth. So just the most recent wild Joker stat, it was his third straight triple-double as they beat the Warriors on Sunday night. The Nuggets beat the Warriors on Sunday night. He did something that nobody has ever done. So he had 32, 16, and 16. It was his third straight game with 14 or more rebounds and 14 or more assists. That's the first time anybody's ever done that. Okay? And add that, and every time you look, there's another first from Nikola Jokic who, you know, when you look at the all-around stats that he puts up,
Come on now.
he's going to go down as one of the best. He may not go down as the best center of all time. He may not be in the conversation for best player of all time when it's done, but he's already, if he's not already, he will be in the conversation, a very short list of best all around. You remember those high school superlatives? Most likely to succeed, most amiable, best all around. I mean, it's like, what doesn't he do? Especially at the offensive end. And so every time you look, there's another, you know, milestone that he's reached that nobody's ever reached before. He's gone where no man has gone before. So again, to me, that makes you a face of the NBA, alongside maybe some of the more outspoken voices or, you know, omnipresent players when it comes, you know, to media and advertisements or what have you. But I'm sorry, like Nikola Jokic, man, that I'm at a loss for words when it comes to what this man does night in and night out.
Yeah, I'm glad. Well, I'm glad you didn't say this word. I'm glad, or this phrase.
What?
I'm glad you didn't say he's the best passing center of all time, which he is. That's true. He is.
Let's not limit him in the center. That's
You're right.
him.
I was going to say that doesn't really
Right. It's
tell
like
the story of who he is.
Yeah.
He's like, he's a 7-foot point guard. He's a 7-foot point guard. He's an amazing passer, period. He just passes so well. His vision, what he sees, even with a little, what he does with a hesitation. Because a lot of people say, oh man, why didn't he do that a second faster? Because he went from a good shot to a great shot, just with a little bit of hesitation for somebody else. Okay, I can give you a good shot right now, but if you just move over here for a little bit, I'm going to give you a better shot. Or I'm going to dribble a little bit, or I'm going to pass over here. I see you over there. I'm going to take a pass. I'm going to get this. I'm going to pass it back. I'm going to pass it over here. I'm going to get a return pass. And then I'm going to find you for something better. And this, the way he sees the game is crazy to me. And watching that game yesterday, it was really interesting how it developed. Like Golden State in the first half, this was vintage Klay Thompson in the first half. Klay Thompson had it going first quarter, second quarter, Golden State is up, and then all of a sudden, they hit a wall. The Nuggets go on a run, and then they just pull away in the second half. There's no way in the world. If you watch that game, I'll say it this way. If you watch that game, if you watch the first 20 minutes, there's no way you would have thought Golden State, A, would lose the game, and B, would lose by 16 points. So it's just, you can say, oh, Golden State did this wrong, they did that, oh, man, they screwed up the rotations, whatever it is. This is just the pace of the Nuggets and Jokic. He just sets the tone for the entire franchise. They're never out of time. It's never too late for them. He just really knows what he's doing, Michael. It's amazing to watch. Now, as far as face of the sport, though, you still ain't feeling me? Can't control that. We can't control that either. We can't control it.
No.
Nope. It's a calling. It's an anointing. It's an
I
anointing.
beat you to it.
That's right. You
Right.
bet. And you can't audition for the spot. You can't say, I'm ready, it's my turn, look at my stats, look where I play. It just kind of happened. So if it hasn't happened for him, then maybe he's not the face of the NBA. He's still a great player, maybe the best player in the NBA.
Wait. When you saying it hasn't happened for him, you're saying he's not?
Nope.
When you say it hasn't happened for him, how is the best player? All right, I don't mean to beat a dead horse. We devoted quite a bit of time to this last week. How is the best player in the league not a face, not the? I didn't say the because I maintain it's not one person. How is he not a face? He's the best player in the league. Like him or not, you're going to be seeing his face in the finals probably again.
I love
in the playoffs,
him.
you're gonna be seeing him every time there's a record being broken. You're seeing him, like every time when the league is advertising, they're using his face, like to mention, I don't think his actions, his play speaks for him because he's not a pitch man, because he's not peddling sneakers, because he's not
Okay, you're mad at it though. Now you're mad at it.
I'm angry at it. I'm angry that we need him to be somebody he's not in order to be considered a face.
We don't need him to be anybody. Be who you are. Be who you are.
Right.
What you
and
are
who he
is enough.
is a face of the league.
Okay, let me ask you. Do you agree with Kevin Durant said something really interesting the other day? I was like, man, what a statement. What self-awareness. He said something, of course, responding to criticism from Charles Barkley. Barkley called him a follower. Said KD's a follower.
Yeah, he's not a bus driver.
So
right.
KD got really frustrated with that. He said, "Look, I'm not trying to be the leader, but don't say I'm not a leader, even though I'm not trying to be a leader." Okay, but the statement was, "I'm not as charismatic as my peers," he said. I'm not as charismatic. Do you think to be the face of the league, the face? I know you said faces, but the face, the lead face. Okay, the pips are the faces. Okay, but to be Gladys Knight, do you have to be charismatic?
Do you have to be charismatic to be the face? Yes.
Answer
you
yes.
have to have some. Yes. To be
And
the face, you have to be charismatic.
Jokic is
about Jokic?
the only thing he's not is charismatic.
Okay, cool. So let's not get lost in the weeds then. I don't think we're disagreeing that he is not the face. We agree that he is not the face. All I was saying last week was that there has never been only one face. Maybe the word I didn't use was only. Because even though Michael Jordan was the face of the league, there were other faces, pips, if you will, of the league.
But not equal to
right, not equal, which I never said anybody was equal. I said nobody, no one. Right. Kobe didn't have to carry the league alone. Shaq, who was a contemporary of Michael Jordan's, didn't have to carry the league alone like it was Jordan, but they had Shaq.
That's the right way to say it.
You know, it was a huge personality, right? So, LeBron has Stephen Curry, who some may argue that Steph is as much, if not more of a face than LeBron. Some would argue, okay? Not that they would win that argument, but some might argue. So I'm saying, like, Jokic, we agree that he's not the face. He's not charismatic enough to be that. But a face, the best player in the league is, like, if we talk about being at the club and at VIP, he's in the VIP section. Him, Giannis, Steph, who else? LeBron, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, Doncic. They're in VIP. Speaking of Luka, let me ask you this, because here's a name, I don't know if we even brought him up last week when we talked about this, it was just a great conversation. I enjoyed it. And in case you missed it, go check it out on YouTube. I don't know if we brought up Victor Wembanyama. Like, and here's my other question. Can the face of the NBA be foreign? Because he just might be French. Yeah, okay. Because it's like, just became, they talking about crazy stuff, just became the youngest player to have a 5x5 game. The quickest in terms of minutes needed to join this club. Every night he's doing something that makes no sense, seemingly. he is charismatic. He is charismatic.
But you got to win.
know, I don't.
As he said,
he's got to win. And the San Antonio
I mean,
of it all doesn't
not,
matter.
and not win a not a championship, and not a title. I'm saying, like when that night they talked to him about the 5x5, game, and he said, "Am I the only one who did it in losses?" that was his question. He was like, "Did the other guys win?" Say, "Hey, Michael Jordan did he win his games?" Because
you said not.
suck.
You said not a title. You said not, but you said he doesn't have to win a title to be a face of the NBA.
Nope, I don't think so. Nope, I don't think you have to win a championship. You don't have to win a championship. Oh, wait a minute. Hey, you talked about all these other people.
Again,
talked about all these other people with Jordan.
Okay, nuance.
Charles Barkley played with Jordan.
That's exactly right.
Patrick Ewing played with Jordan.
I don't know if Ewing was a face of the NBA. I don't know if I go so far as to call. Barkley definitely was. Barkley definitely was. Yes.
How about Reggie?
Yeah.
Reggie was one.
No.
Reggie was a big.
No, I wouldn't say. I would say Reggie Miller. No, I don't think he would qualify as a face of the NBA at the time. I don't mean to disparage him or downplay how great he was. I don't know. I think Reggie. The Michael Jordan era was interesting. It's kind of like it really kind of was. You're right. It kind of was. Everybody was in this club of people that weren't Michael or that lost to Michael. It was almost, I guess, that's kind of what they were. Right. I mean, we knew who they were. Whether it was Malone, Stockton, Barkley, Peyton,
all the people
Kim. There was a lot of great players.
All the people he beat were really. It was like they were. It was like the runners-up. Really good players.
They were really good. Yeah, Ewing. So like I mentioned, could it be foreign? Like, I don't know, as great as Hakeem Olajuwon was, I would consider him a face of the NBA. He wasn't the face of the NBA, even when the Rockets were winning championships in Jordan's absence. I'm not qualifying it.
Yeah.
But that would be interesting if a Frenchman were the face, or at minimum one of the faces of the NBA. But he's well on his way. But I pause because I do think to be the face, not a, but the, you do have to win a championship. You do have to win
that title.
To be the top guy, to be the top dog, or the top 2 or 3 dudes at the head of the table. You got to win a title. That's right now. That's Jokic. That's Giannis. That's Steph. That's LeBron. You got to be in that category in order to be.
And if you don't win,
like Harden sells a lot of shoes. James Harden sells a shit ton of shoes. Paul George is your favorite player's favorite player. And the kids love Paul George because they grew up watching Paul George. I wouldn't say he's a face of the NBA. Or definitely not the face. All right. Jayson Tatum started that whole conversation.
Yeah. And you didn't mention him one time. You didn't mention him one time.
Well, we talked about him last week, but we talked about him last week. I was trying not to rehash the whole conversation, even though I just did. The Celtics are 7.5 games up on the East. They're riding an 8-game winning streak. And I've come to find out they have the 10th best net rating ever. They're not 8 games up, they're 7.5 games up. Just want to be accurate. And I'm wondering if this team, because last year I was one of these people that wanted to blow them up. I was like, they'll never win together. They'll never win together. The Tatum Brown experiment has run its course. They'll never win. It's not meant to be. Here they are, the best team in basketball, and they seem to be a smarter team. They're a very unselfish team. And so I want to ask you a 2-part question, sorry, Sawatsky, because I'd love to get your thoughts on this since you've seen them up close. Is there something to be said? Because a lot of times when people think about, hey, best player on best team as MVP, it's more about like recognition, but I don't know if people truly recognize that Jayson Tatum's statistics don't tell the story of how he's powering this team. Yeah, and I know you know what I'm talking about. Like you probably put it in better terms than I can, but it's almost like he's conceding MVP for the greater good. in terms of the way he's playing and the example that he's setting. So he's not just best player on best team statistically. They are the best team because their best player allows them to be the best team. Like, he's not carrying them as much as he's like guiding them, if that makes sense, or if I'm using the right phrase. And the second thing is, are the Celtics believable this year? Because it's always felt like something's been missing at the end of the year in the playoffs, whether it's chemistry, whether it's schematically. Do you believe in them that they can not only be the best team in the regular season, but be the best team when it's all said and done? So, two-part question, take it away.
Yeah, well, I'll say watch out for Jayson Tatum. Watch out for him. He's 25. He's going to be 26 next month. 26. So when you talk about, hey, as a lot of people did, when they lost last year to Miami in the Eastern Conference Finals, they were down zip 3, came back, forced Game 7, then Game 7, Miami ran away with it. Okay, it's over. People were mad at Jaylen Brown, turned the ball over too much. Mad at Jayson Tatum. Hey, he got hurt, but he should have stepped up. Isaiah stepped up. He got hurt. He twisted his ankle. Remember that one? Kind of like it was anger. It was anger, especially in Boston when you've won so much and the standard is championships. But I say watch out for Tatum because at 25, going on 26, if he wins a championship this year, watch out. Winning a championship 2 years before your prime, going to your second NBA Finals, and then getting a win your second time there. First time there, 23. They were up 2-1 over the Warriors. And then we hear that Steph told them, hey, enjoy your last win. That's cold. Enjoy your last win in the finals because we're going to win. And they did. So the experience and the talent of the Golden State Warriors really was the star in what the story in Boston was not that. The story in Boston was, hey, Jayson Tatum came up small in the NBA Finals at 23 years old, shooting like 30-something% from the field and just looking overwhelmed by the Warriors who figured him out. Don't let him win now. Don't let him win now because then he becomes that guy
floodgates go open.
Who will he's going to start collecting a lot of them. And I do believe he's got it and they have it this year for a couple of reasons. One, Tatum is a smart player. He didn't get enough credit.
That's what I'm saying.
One of the smartest players in the league.
That's what I'm saying. Like the way they're playing right now, it starts with him. And the numbers don't bear it out necessarily. If you just watch him, everybody, he's got size. So a guy 6'8", 6'9", shooting threes like that, going to the basket like that, yeah, it's mesmerizing. And he can put 50 up pretty quickly. We've seen that in Game 7. He did it in Game 7 last year against Philly. Did it in Game 6 the previous year against the Milwaukee Bucks to stave off elimination. But what I like watching him do is defend. Mike, I know Coach Michael Smith, I know you coach your son and his friends. Tell them, if you want your team to really be locked in on defense, tell them to watch Jayson Tatum defensively. I never see him blow a defensive assignment. He never is confused or overwhelmed on defense. It's unbelievable. He's a great defensive player, and he never gets credit for that. So I think they have it. And the other thing I'll say about their team, I was just talking about Tatum, but their team, you want to talk about upgrades, they trade away, Rob Williams and part of that, Rob Williams and Malcolm Brogdon, they bring in Drew Holiday. Great trade. They trade away Marcus Smart. People are like, oh, how do you trade Marcus Smart? And they bring in Porzingis. Yeah. So
they upgraded with two players like that. The only question about them is their depth.
What is the question? Because I'm wondering if they have any weaknesses. I was wondering if they have weaknesses. Depth. What is the question?
Depth. Okay. Depth. On the bench. So if you're starting five, you got Holiday, Brown, you got Porzingis, you've got Tatum, and throw in Derek White. So now you got Horford at 37 as your first guy off the bench. You got Horford, Peyton Pritchard, Sam Hauser.
Yeah.
They just picked up Xavier Tillman, good defender. So I think everybody, you need a guy off the bench. And some championship run, one of those bench guys is going to has to hit a big shot. That happens. They don't have to carry you, but somebody's got to hit a big shot in a playoff game, in a finals game. It has happened in the history of the finals, there's always some dude who's not an all-star who's got to do something special on a championship run. And one of those guys do it? That's the question.
All right. Hey, speaking of special, as we wrap this up, let's sign off with a shout out. Our colleague Peter King, congratulations on a great run. Published his last Football Morning in America column. You're much closer personally to Peter than I am, which I'm sure you'll get into. We've crossed paths. We've known each other for a long time, but just, when I was breaking into the business and had aspirations of being a national NFL reporter, I mean, that's the standard. That's what we were all chasing.
Yeah.
They were talking about chasing the GOAT, chasing Brady. We're chasing Peter King when it came to not just information, but insight. So a hell of a run,
yes.
And it's been a pleasure calling you colleague.
That's right, Peter. I mean, the perspective, the insight, you said it, Michael, he just knows so much stuff. And can I tell you from a writer's perspective, my man was writing 10,000 plus words every week. You know what I look at? When I hear that, I hear 2 book chapters. That's 2 book chapters. He's writing 2 book chapters every week. And I saw in his final column, he says, hey, my boss, Sam Flood, said, can I take it down to 6,000? That's a book chapter plus. Take it down to 6,000? Incredible writer, incredible reporter,
Crazy.
And just a lover of football. We were blessed to read him for as long as we did.
Insane run. All right, man, I'll talk to you Wednesday.
All right, brother. Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget, you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.